requires a password and all. So we are sorry for that. So I'm going to appeal to you. Kindly send the link to your friends. Please don't share on social media. Don't share on Facebook. Right. So if you have friends on WhatsApp, please share the link with them, because today's meeting is special, right? If you have someone you love, kindly share the link with them. Only those you love this time around. Don't share with your enemies, okay? So today is going to be an important day. You know, we've been talking about cooperative and cooperative and cooperative. And I'll tell you that one of the things that has bedeviled the Black race is the fact that we do not track anything. We just live life as it comes, and we say to ourselves, you know, I don't know how God is doing it. In many of the financial sessions that we host, when we ask people how many people are here who are spending more than they are earning, almost every hand goes up. Then you ask them the balance that you are spending, where is it coming from? How they will tell you, I don't know how God is doing it. They will even say it in Yoruba. Oluwa, miracle, the tire Jesus. That's the new lingo in Nigeria right now. Now, unknown to that person is borrowing from his future to service his present, right? And guarantee that without a proper plan, by the time you get to retirement age, you will still need to work and do many things, because we're not planning long term. One of the things we have disabused here is the concept of New Year resolution, annual prophetic declaration, that we would rather do a decade declaration or a generational declaration, because that's more sustainable and you can work towards that. So many years ago, a meeting was organized, and it was a meeting like we're going to do today. So today's meeting may be a bit boring. It's not your kind of meeting, but it's one of the most important meetings you will ever attend. Now, this meeting ideally should take, it used to cost like maybe 100,000 per person. So that's why I wanted to cherish it, because it's coming to you for free. And we need to appreciate our facilitator who has decided to, come do this for us. So I attended a meeting with my wife, and it was a meeting where everybody has to do their current financial snapshot. Now, snapshot means that they wanted to know your net worth and where you were financially. That year, by the time they gave us the modality of how to do it, I praise yours truly. I was popular, speaking everywhere. When I looked at my net worth as at that meeting, that is when I deducted my liabilities from my assets, I was on zero that year. That was where I was. And I almost couldn't believe it. So what showed up before me was what looked like financial obituary. It was like an obituary. I was almost in tears, but I couldn't shed tears publicly. But there were bigger people at the meeting that I thought were very rich and were comfortable. By the time they began to read out their own result, some of them were minus $10,000, minus $20,000, minus $40,000, right? And so all of a sudden, zero felt like success, but it was still failure. And so I started to say, you know what? Told my wife, we need to do something, right? And so that day, I understood asset side and liability side. I understood how to budget. I understood the fact that when you are down, you need to make more money, right? And when you make more money, I understood how to create an escrow account. An escrow account is an account that is for your future, right? The money you put in an escrow account, you don't spend it on anybody. You don't give it a loan to anybody. It's for investment. Any movement from your escrow account moves into investment. So you never get ATM and all those things, right? And that meeting changed my life. Right. And so I have graciously appealed to our facilitator, because there is no point getting into a new year. And I always say there's nothing called New Year. So please, let's always perish this thought of, oh, Happy New Year. Right. The day a new you emerges is your new year. There is no new year without a new you. So if the you this year was the you last year, is the you that is going to move into next year, except that you is producing the kind of result you want, because Joe Dispenza will say that your personality is what determines your personal reality. And I believe in that absolutely. So I'm not facilitating today because it's a numbers game today. So like I said, it might be a bit boring, but it's the most important reality, that best gift you can get this year. So I am going to make welcome my wife, Babe, who is very good at doing this for people. I've seen her do this over and over again and gotten people out of debt. And by the way, she just launched a new program, I think 40-day financial fitness, that is incredible. I've seen her use that to help people, and it's very affordable and cheap. So you might, maybe she'll talk about it as she rounds up, but please, let's make welcome Tosin. Praise Fowowe. Let's and where's she? Let's go to the chat box and welcome TPF. Okay.
Morning, TPF.
Good morning, TPF. Over to you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, House of Saviors. It's a pleasure to be here again. Thank you for having me. Thank you, PF, for the opportunity to do this again. I do not take it for granted that I get the privilege to teach this noble house. It's not because I'm PF's babe. I think experience and expertise comes into place. PF will not bring to you somebody he does not believe in, that they have the experience and the expertise, to teach you, because he values each and every one of us, and he would go out of his way to look for the best hands at every time to teach us. So I do not take it for granted. I have this opportunity again to do this. So thank you very much, PF and the leadership of House of Saviors. As introduced, my name is Tosin, Praise Fowowe, and here today I have the very huge task of walking us through our net worth. But before we go and delve into that aspect of today's teaching, the first question I have for every one of us is to ask us, we have been talking about finances, we've been talking about wealth. UG has taught us, Uncle Goswill, that's my mentor, he's taught us a lot in this group. Fisayo has taken many classes on kingdom wealth and wealth creation and finances. We've had a couple of other people teach us in our different groups. The first question I have for us today is, what have you done with the knowledge that you have gathered in 2023? We've had a lot of classes taken on finance this year alone. What have you done with it? I need to see answers in the chat room. I need to see what people have done. What steps have you taken? Have you increased your savings, or have you started saving, or have you done your first investment? Let's know in the chat room what you have done with the knowledge that you have gained. Then we will now take that into the next step of what we need to talk about today. So I'm going to go into the chat room briefly and see what Adam Sajao said, I'm crashing my expenses now. That's good. It's a good place to start, because if your expenses are high and you are spending more than you are earning, then you are not going to move forward in the right direction as fast as you should be. So starting from crashing your expenses is a good place to start. Beef up my mutual funds. Awesome. Ayodej Lawrence, thank you so very much. Dr. Princess did her first investment. Isn't that amazing? Can we give her a round of applause? That's amazing. That's really, really beautiful, because investment is where you start to build your wealth. Let's see. Lois Ame became debt-free. Amazing, for the first time in many years. Did you hear that? That is simply amazing. So I see that we are doing things with what we are learning, and that gives me so much joy. It gives me, and I know Uncle Goswill is happy, I know PF is happy that we are doing things with what we have learned. So if you have started saving, if you have increased your income, if you started investing, the next question you want to ask yourself is, as I'm going towards the end of this 2023. Where am I at in my financial journey? This class would normally take about 3 hours for us to go through, but I'm not going to laden us with too many activities, but I'm going to choose that one activity that is very important for each and every one of us to know at this point, and that is understanding where you are in your wealth journey. And that said is, how much assets do I have? And how much liability am I exposed to? So what are my exposures? Where am I strong? Or what am I strong in? Or what am I strong at? So they will say to you that the 10 richest men in the world are these people. How do we know that they are the 10 richest men or 10 richest women or 10 richest people in the world? Is because some people have sat down and calculated what they are worth, what their net worth is. And by net worth, we mean when you take all the things that they own, which is called their assets, and you take away all the things that they owe, which are their liabilities, they have a positive cash flow at the end of the day. So it means that if they own 1 million worth of assets and they have 100,000 naira worth of liability, their net worth is 900,000. And because that is positive, that is how much they are worth. And if you have a million naira worth of assets and you have 3 million naira worth of liability, your net worth is in the negative. You are technically not worth anything. If anything happens today and you drop dead, you are going to put your family in debt that they did not plan for, that they did not ask for, that they did not see coming their way. So you will see that some families, their parents die and the children have to, pay debts that they did not even know was existent. Even people in this part of the world, you will see parents who have refinanced their mortgages over and over and over again, that by the time, the last time the children heard about the mortgages is that it's been paid off. Then maybe something happened and they refinanced to do something. And they did not even tell the children that they refinanced their mortgage. By refinancing their mortgage, it means that after paying off their mortgage or at some point in the payment of their mortgage, they took out more loan on that house. So now if they were owing 50,000 and they took another loan of 100,000 against that house, they are now owing 150 as against 50,000. So we'll see that people have remortgaged their homes over and over again. And by the time they die, the kids have to pay off the loan on the house. So you have given them a house that should be debt-free, but instead of being debt-free, they have to start paying mortgage on that house. Something they probably did not plan that they were going to be doing, especially if the children were not aware that those refinancing took place on those. So there are different things that happen in our lives and requires us to always know where we are. And because the best place you can be is to always know where you are at in your financial journey. How much am I worth? What are my assets? What is the land that I bought 10 years ago? What is it worth today? Because you really need to keep pace with where you are at in your financial journey. So I'm going to share my screen. Esther said, becoming serious with budgeting, spending plan, the clutter kit stuff. You know that one of the things that we don't think about when we think about wealth is decluttering. Because clutter does not help you to advance towards wealth. Clutters around you clogs your mind. I found that out, when somebody was talking about decluttering and how it helps you to advance your wealth. So Estelle, that is very good. Thank you very much for dropping that in the chat room. So decluttering, maybe one of the things we'll talk about one day is how to clear our minds and our spaces to reflect that wealth. Well, I'm not the one that is going to teach you that anyways, because I'm also in that space where I also need to get into that decluttering, to to create that abundance mindset around my space. Yeah, so garage was full. I know. I've seen people like that around me. Garages full, not even garages that are full with stuff that they can easily let go. But not being able to let go is another problem with wealth creation. Maybe we'll get somebody to teach us that one of these days. Okay, so let's talk about understanding your net worth. Where are you in your financial journey? I'm going to do that. I hope you have your paper and your pen. And this, you might not be able to complete this today because we did not give you advance notice as to the things that you are going to need. Because if you really want to do this properly, if you really want to do it well, then one of the things that you should have gotten ready would be your financial statements, would be your bank deposit balances, would be your insurance statement, it would be your mortgage statement, would be all your financial documents in one place so that you can actually really sit down and put the correct numbers in place. But I'll take you through how to do that today. I'll take you through how to do it so that when you rewatch this video and you have all your documents together, you can then do a proper analysis of what your financial state is. So bear with me. So can you see my screen? So I'm teaching today from my 30-day financial fitness money challenge, which PF spoke about earlier. And so if you buy that course, this is one of those things that you will do in that course to understand where you are in your financial journey. So basically what the 30 days fitness financial fitness challenge helps you to do is to create a relationship with your money and ask yourself, where am I at? And what is it that I want to achieve with my finances? And how do I get to that place? What are the things that I need to put in place to start ensuring that my finances are running in the right direction? So that is what the 30 days financial fitness challenge is all about. So what are your assets? What are your liabilities? I made mention earlier that your assets are the things that you own. They are the things that helps you to build wealth. So your assets could be your investments. Your assets could be your house. Your assets could be the stocks that you have bought. Your assets are those things that are increasing in value and ensuring that you are making money along the way. Liabilities are those things that require you to spend more money. So for example, your car is not an asset. The day you drive your car out of the dealership, it reduces in value by almost 20%. So your car is not an asset. I know that in regular accounting, we put car as an asset because it has resale value. Because it has resale value does not mean it is an asset. And how you know if something is an asset is it increasing in value? So your car, the worth of your car, so take for example, you have a 2021 Ford Edge, for example, that you bought at $40,000, and you bought it 2 years ago, 2021, and this is 2023. That car today is no longer worth $40,000. That car today is probably worth $30,000. I don't have actual numbers, so I'm using assumed numbers here. So probably today is worth about 30,000. So that is not an asset because it is not growing in value. Your gold is an asset. And people say, oh, you are spending money to buy gold. Gold increases in value. Gold decreases in value based on how the market moves. But gold is an asset. So you can buy your gold in the form of jewelries, and you can buy your gold in the form of bars and coins and keep in the safe deposit box at the bank, wherever you want to keep it, or in the safe in your home. But whatever increases in value is an asset. So one of the things that we want to do today is to look at what are the assets that you have. So write on a paper, in a piece of paper, or in your jotter, whatever you are using to take notes this morning. Itemize what your assets are. So the first thing we want to look at are your liquid assets. What are your liquid assets? Your liquid assets are assets that can be quickly turned into cash. or are in cash state. So for example, the balances you have in your bank account, in your checking account and your savings account right now are your liquid assets. They are cash at hand, or they are your saving balances. The cash you have in your house, in your wallet, in your wardrobe, under your bed, wherever it is that you have kept cash, is cash at hand. So you want to first start with, how much cash do I have at hand? For example, I don't keep cash, so I don't have cash at hand. If I'm going to fill in that place, I'm going to put 0 because I don't keep cash. Then I'll go to, what are my savings account balances? Savings account balances. So you look into your savings account. How much is there as at now? So what I like to do is, as at today is 26th of November 2023 at 8:40 a.m. This is how much I have in my savings account. Because the reason I'm putting that that time there is because at the end of the day, I might have spent from that savings account. So as at this morning, this time of the day, I have this amount as balance on my account. So I put it there. Savings account, $1,500. I put it there. On my current account, I have $350.48. I put it right there. Then if I have foreign accounts, so for example, I live in Canada and my currency is Canadian dollars. If I have a US denominated account, which I do, and if there is a balance in that account, I acknowledge it. So for example, if I have a GBP account, which is pound sterling account, if I have that, if I have a USD account, I convert those balances into my Canadian currency and I put them there. I add them up and put them there under equivalent of DOM account balances. So if you live in Nigeria, for example, and you have a GBP account, you have a USD account, you have a yuan account, and which other account is popular? Maybe you do things in Dubai and you have their currency account. Convert those to your Naira equivalent and put it under equivalent of DOM account balances. So those are your liquid cash or your liquid assets, sorry. Those are your liquid assets. Then you want to total that up under total liquid assets. Then you have that set aside. Then you want to now start looking at your investments, one after the other. So if you have any question at any point in time, please stop me. I will answer your question, okay? Because I want you to understand it so that you can do it right. So if you have any question, please raise your hand. The admin for today would stop me to answer your question, please, because I will not be able to see what's going on at the background because I'm sharing. So if you have any question, raise your hand and let the admin know, or you drop it in the chat room and I'll check it, okay? Okay.
Sorry,
so right now,
can you do a slideshow? Maybe it might be clearer. Just go down and just display your slide. Yeah.
Well, I'm sharing. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see, but it's not on slideshow. It's on normal.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, can you see it better now?
Yes.
All right. Okay,
then
so
I was going to ask, is crypto cash at hand or is not there?
So yeah.
Yeah.
So I did not update that. So crypto is, I really don't know where I want to put crypto, because also I think I'll put it as part of your liquid asset as well. I'll put it as part of your liquid asset because it also works like your DOM account, is a currency on its own. So I'll put it as part of your liquid asset. And the reason why it's a currency is because you can trade it and it fluctuates with the market. And it has all the characteristics, most of the characteristics of a regular currency, only that it is not physical. Like other currencies, it's a virtual currency. So bearing that at the back of my mind, I'd say if you have crypto currency, then put it as part of your liquid assets. So does that answer your question, Pierre? So if you want to recognize your crypto, I'll say do it the same way you will do your DOM account balances. The value of that crypto as of that day converted to cash. But the thing is, if you are using all of these parameters, if you are using your DOM account balances as part of your liquid assets, then I would say you have to keep updating your net worth file. Why? Because if it goes up, your net worth goes up. If it goes down, your net worth goes down because of exchange rates. And that is where the exchange rate risk comes into ensuring. But if you choose to say, you can also decide to say that I will use this average rate as my calculator, as my exchange rate for the next 3 months, because usually it's best to do your net worth analysis every quarter to know where you are. I was having a chat with Ayo Lawrence this morning, and I said, if you had an asset, a net worth of $50,000 at the beginning of the year, and at the end of the year you are closing with $40,000, your net worth has reduced, then you need to ask yourself, what happened? What did I do wrong? Or what went wrong? Or how did this happen? Because your net worth, if you are doing the right things, is supposed to be increasing and not decreasing. So if it's decreasing, you want to ask yourself questions around, what am I doing? Or what impacted my assets that brought it down? Did I spend it? Or did I make a wrong investment decision? Did I put my money in the wrong investment that's wiped away part of my assets? So you want to ask yourself those questions and find out how you can mitigate against those things going forward. Okay, so that said, let's go into your investment assets. So if you don't have any question on liquid assets, then we can move on to the next one. So under investment assets, you want to think about your real estate. Even though I put your vehicle there, because in regular accounting, it is considered to be an asset. But if you ask me, in your personal finance, I will not put it there. But because I've had clients who have said they want to recognize their car as part of their assets, yeah, it's their choice. But if you ask me on a personal level, I would say, don't put your car as an asset, put it as a liability. But for the clients that I've worked with who insisted on putting their car as assets, what I do, or what I've done in time past, is to say, your car has a 5-year warranty. What's that warranty called now? Manufacturer's warranty. So it has 5 years manufacturer's warranty. After 5 years, you can depreciate it fully, right? If you buy from a dealership, you probably bought it, depending on how many years payment is on it. So if you bought it for 84 months, for example, which is 7 years payment, you can now use, at the end of 7 years, what will be the resale value of this car? That will be what we'll put there as the value of the car, not what is worth today. What it will be worth, what will be the resale value of that car when you are selling it off, will be the value that we are putting there as your assets, or as your amount of the asset or the value of the car, not what it's worth today. Because what is worth today, this morning, is not what is going to be worth tomorrow, because it depreciates on a daily basis. The higher, the more you pile up on your mileage, the lesser the value of the car. So we want to think about it as, at the end of the lifetime of this car, what is going to be the value? It's like leasing a car. I don't know if we have that option in Nigeria where you can lease a car, and at the end of the lease period, when the car is up for sale, you can buy off that car from the company that leased it to you. I don't know, but we have it on this side of the world where you can lease a car for for 5 years, you renew it on a yearly basis. And at the end, when the car is up for sale, you have the option of first refusal, because you are the one that's been using the car, and they'll still offer it to you to say, okay, this car is being fully amortized and we want to sell it off. Do you want to buy it? So they'll tell you what the resale value is. So that resale value is what I would advise that you put on that vehicle. So your real estate, is worth 1.2 million, but the mortgage on it is 800,000. What is your assets? When you want to record your assets, what should you record? Anybody has an idea? An answer for me. So your house, your property is worth 1.2 million, but you have an 800 mortgage on that account, on that real estate. How much should you put here as the assets? Anybody has any idea? I'm going to check in the chat room. 400K, 400K, 400K. Good answer. So 400K would be a good response. And we can use 400K in this place. But if you are going to go into liabilities and put mortgage there, right, then 400K would not be your answer. And the reason why I'm saying this right now is because I know that under liabilities, I have mortgage there as well. So if you want to put under real estate that you have 1.2, sorry, I don't know what just happened to that. Okay, sorry. So if you want to put there that you have 1.2 million, then when you get under liabilities, you put there that you have a liability of 800,000. But if you put in investment assets that you have 400,000, then under mortgage, you put 0. That's why I wanted you to answer the question, so that I can use that to explain what should be there. So if you put 400,000 as the value of your own, as your assets, because that is your own equity in the property, then when you get under mortgage, remember not to put anything under mortgage. It will be 0 under mortgage. But if you put the full value of the house under investment assets, when you get to liabilities, remember to put your mortgage there. Okay, so if I have a house if you have a house that is worth 350,000, and you have almost finished paying your mortgage, and it's only 16,000 that is left for you to pay, right? You can put your full amount you can put your full amount in the real estate, under your investment assets. Why? Because if you're paying 2,500, for example, on a monthly basis, then you have less than a year to finish paying it, which is fine. Okay, so you can put in, but if you have considerable amount of mortgage on your property, you don't want to do that. You want to ensure that you capture. Sorry, I've forgotten that I'm on screen share. I'm on slideshow. Okay, so I'll stop clicking. I've been clicking and it's been taking me to the next page. So you want to really get the correct picture of what you are worth at every point in time. So I have that explanation for real estate. And for your vehicle, if you want to put what your vehicle is worth right now, which I totally am against, don't put what your car is worth right now. But if you want to go that route, do the same thing you do with your real estate, with your car loan. So if you have a loan on that car, put it there. Put it under liabilities, and don't forget to do that. Okay? So cash value of your insurance. So if you have universal life insurance that has cash value attached to it, there are some form of insurances that have investments tied to it. Okay, so for example, universal life insurance, if you have that kind of insurance, there's a cash surrender value that is attached to that. Okay, if you have that kind of insurance, take the present or the current cash surrender value of your insurance and add it as part of your asset. It's your money. even though it's tied to your insurance, it's something you can take out at any time that you need it and use it, maybe in other investments or whatever it is that you want to use it for. But if you are doing that insurance right, it's supposed to be like a form of retirement plan for you. Okay, so if you have an insurance that has cash value, cash surrender value, then put that amount as part of your assets because it's part of your assets. So what is that? What's the cash surrender value of your insurance as of today, as of this morning? Okay, and put it there as part of your assets. So what are other valuables do you have? If you have gold, what is the value of that gold today? If you want to take it to the black market to sell, maybe you are in dire need of cash, or you want to do an investment and you need cash. So for example, I had someone who wanted to do a down payment on a house, and she didn't have enough money for the down payment for the particular house she was bidding for. Then she gathered all of her gold and took it to the gold dealer. She got more than the deposits, more than the balance that she needed for the deposit on her home. And she sold the gold and paid the down payment on that property. Then I asked her and I said, so now that you have sold all of your gold, what are you going to do? She said, I start building up again. I start buying gold again. So people buy gold as a hold for cash, okay? So they use it like an emergency fund. And I like the fact that people who are thinking are able to do that. So you're able to wear your gold on a regular basis and enjoy yourself and feel good that you are working so hard and you're able to buy this. I remember that one day at work, my manager, who was then a Nigerian woman, was wearing gold in our meeting, and somebody said he had a question and asked my manager and said, "Is that real gold you are wearing?" And she said, "Yes." He said, "Oh, wow." Because it was not just a small gold, it was gold and it was those big gold. And the guy was like, "Oh, wow, you can afford to buy that?" And she was like, "Excuse me, I've worked for 30 years. Don't you think I should be able to afford that?" And I've seen people who use gold for things that they use for holding cash, such that if they have an emergency and they need money, they can always sell their gold. But they also derive the benefit of knowing that when they want to show up in places, they have the party or the occasion gold, they have the everyday gold, they have this gold, that gold that they use for different purposes. But they also derive the joy that they have something to show for the many years that they have worked and the things that they have been able to acquire. So if you want to use gold as a hold of cash, fine, because gold as a commodity increases in value as well. So what are the other valuables that you have? You probably have gold jewelries, you have gold bars or gold coins or silver discs or whatever it is, other commodities that you hold that are of value that you hold. What is the dollar equivalent or the naira equivalent of that? As of today, you can always check the price of gold on Google, and that would help you to have a fair idea of what that is. But again, you have to be careful. If you have jewelry gold, they carry lesser sell rate than the pure gold bars or gold coins. Okay, so if a gold bar is selling at $60 per gram, your jewelry gold will probably sell at $55 per gram. They don't carry the same weight as the bars or the coins. So be careful of what that is. So you want to find out what the jewelry gold is worth in the market, then have that converted to your own currency. If you are living in the UK, remember that it's GBP. If you are living in US, it's USD. If you are living in Nigeria, in Naira. Okay, so do all of those things, then how much is your stock worth? How much is your shares worth? Oh, I have MTN shares, I have Access Bank shares, I have these shares, I have that shares. Put all of those together, and how much are they worth? You can always go to the stock market and check what the market value of your stock is, and put that there. Then if you have bonds, pull all your bond certificates together. How much is that? How much is all your bonds put together? How much are they worth? Put it there. If you have commercial deposit papers, if you have treasury bills, pull all of those statements together and just fill them in one after the other. What am I not? Your mutual funds. It's there. Your mutual funds. Pull all of those together. So if you have RRSP, if you have TFSA, oh shoot, sorry. If you have retirement plan, if you have tax advantage savings account and all of those things. So because in different countries there are different things. So in Canada you will say things like RRSP, TFSA. In America you have 401k, IRA, Roth IRA, and all of those things. So depending on where you live, what other paper deposits or what other paper assets do you have? Pull all of your statements together and find what those balances are and impute them in the appropriate rows. At the end of the day, total your assets and your investment assets, and whatever you have from there, the red arrow and the blue arrow, add them together. That will give you what should be in your yellow arrow. Okay, so the total liquid assets, for example, is 4.5 million naira. Your total investment asset is 50 million naira. Your total assets will be 54.5 million naira, right? So that is what your assets are. Then you now want to go to your liabilities. But before we go into liabilities, does anyone have a question? At times, one does not, sorry, 1 minute. At times, one does not know the difference between gold and costume jewelry. Difference to, oh, okay. So before you have to be sure who you are buying from. In fact, Dr. Princess already answered that question. So yeah, you have to be sure who you are buying from. You have to be sure that you are buying from a correct source. Okay. If you don't know the person, ask people who you know buy gold, who you know they have gold, and ask them where do they buy from, who did they buy from, so that you can buy from the right source. I know that people can be funny when it comes to things like this. So you always want to buy from the right source. You always want to have good referrals as to who is selling to you. Okay. Any other question before we move on? And don't invest your money in costume. In fact, it's not an investment. Costume does not have resale value. Costumes come at high prices as well, but they do not have resale value. They can look beautiful. They are just costume. That's what they are. And that they are what their name is, costume. No resale value. So if you want to actually put money into jewelries, I've seen people who have a lot of beautiful costume jewelries that is useless. Your wig is not an asset. Your wig of 500,000 naira is not an asset. Your 150,000 naira Ashwebi is not an asset. So things that don't have resale value are not assets. Things that don't increase in value are not assets. Okay, so if you are thinking assets, think about increase in value. If they cannot increase in value, then they are not assets. Somebody might want to ask me, but when the market goes down, you lose money. If you stay invested in the market, you will gain your money back. As long as you don't sell off at that loss, your loss has not crystallized. As long as you stay invested in the market and the market recovers, you will recover your money again. Okay, so the stock market, the financial market goes up and down. Yes, it does. But if you stay invested in the market, you will recover as long as you don't sell. The moment you sell, your loss becomes crystallized. It means that you have harvested that loss. You have accepted it as a loss. But if you leave your money in the market and the market recovers and your money is still in the market, then you will recover your loss back. Estelle has a question. Estelle, can you ask your question?
Okay. Yeah, thank you, TPF. Just a quick question concerning real estate. Like, do we have to consider the value at of today? Because, like, for example, this is my house. I bought like 389,000 long time ago, right? But today it's worth like 800,000. So do I consider the 800,000 in
You
the
consider today's market value? Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question before we move on? Okay, so I'll go into liabilities. Okay, so we've talked about mortgages. How do you record your mortgages? If you want to record the actual value of your house. So, Estelle, do I have your permission to use the question you asked now as an example? Estelle? Okay, so we'll go on.
Yes, please, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. So for example, Estelle bought this house at 389. If Estelle does not have a mortgage on that house, again, our real estate investment asset is 800,000, today's market price. If she has mortgage on that house, it will be the current value minus her mortgage. Because if she sells that house today, she will sell it at 800,000, right? And she will, from that 800,000, pay off the balance on her mortgage. Whatever is left is hers. Okay, so you use the current market value to evaluate the price of your, the worth of your real estate. Okay, any form of asset that you have really is current market value that you want to use, current market value. You don't want to use the value that you, so for example, let's use stock, for example. So you bought the shares of MTN at, say, 15 Naira per share in 2022. Today, the market value of MTN shares is $13, sorry, 13 Naira 50 kobo. You are not going to use the 15 Naira that you bought those shares as the value of your shares, because that's not the real value. The real value as of today is 13 Naira 50 kobo. Maybe when you now do this review again at the end of March, which is the end of the first quarter of 2024, the market value for MTN shares has moved up to 16 Naira. You put it there as at that time as 16 Naira per share, and that is how you would calculate it. So the reason why it is always good to look into your net worth calculation every quarter, not every now and then, it's not something you do on a monthly basis, every quarter or every half year, twice a year, is so that you know how your assets are doing, how they are behaving in the market. Because you have shares of MTN does not mean that you will now sit down on internet every day and be monitoring how MTN shares is behaving or how it is faring in the market. You want to give yourself high blood pressure. So, but it's always good to pop in there once every quarter to look at how your assets are doing. If you invest through a company, for example, ARM or all those investment institutions, they should, on a good, they give you a quarterly statement of your financial affairs. And those are all the documents that you now bring together to the table and use it to calculate your net worth. If you have a financial planner, for example, these are things that a financial planner would do for you. They would help you to calculate it. They don't give you that headache. They have a calculator, and you can even go online and look for a net worth calculator that you can use, to calculate your net worth by yourself. Okay, I can look up a couple and send it, into the WhatsApp group. Then you can use that. That even makes it easier. But if you have an Excel sheet like this, you can also use it, the Excel sheet. Okay, so if you have student loan, any kind of loan at all, this is a good place to start bringing them out. Oh, I may not have written it there, but if you are owing people, if you are owing your brother, your sister, your friend, your cousin, whoever it is, those are loans. You are owing them, put them there. You can even itemize them. Instead of putting them as other loans and summing them up, you can itemize them, because seeing it helps you to know who you need to pay. Seeing it helps you to know that you have a financial responsibility towards this person. This person has loaned you 150,000 on trust that you would return it. But because it is not in your face, you keep forgetting. So if you itemize them under your liabilities, then it becomes easier for you to create a plan for you to pay back. Then, so all of your loans comes right in here. I've talked about the mortgage and the car loan. Your student loan, how much is it as at today? It's not how much you collected when you went to school. It's how much it is as at today, because remember, there is interest on that student loan. If you are paying it down as you should, it should be reducing. If you are not paying it down as you should, then it will be increasing, because it will be accumulating interest. And student loan is one of the most stubborn loans that you can, think of repaying. But if you have the right plan in place, it's something you can pay down fast. Okay, so you want to think about other loans. You want to think about your credit card loans, or your line of credit, or your personal loans that you have collected from the bank on anything, or whatever kind of loan that you have, or your no interest loan that you have collected from family and friends. Itemize all of them there so that you have a true picture of where you are. Don't leave out any loan. Okay, don't leave out any loan, even the ones that you owe to friends and family. It's important that you put them there. So you now do a final calculation, which is your blue arrow minus your green arrow will give you your purple arrow. That is what your net worth is. If your net worth is 0, you are in a good place. If your net worth is -0, you are in a good place. If your net worth is positive, you are in a good place. Why? Because you know where you are. You know where you are. If you know where you are, it is easier to get to where you want to get to. If you don't know where you are, that is where the problem starts from. You don't even know who you owe. You don't know what you own. It's a big problem. So you want to know what you own. You want to know who you owe or what you owe. Then you cannot create a plan to get to where you want to get to. You will not get there faster by not knowing, by blinding yourself to it, or by creating a wall between you and that part of your life. You won't get to where you want to get to. I like this analogy. If you are going to VI from Ojodu and you get into your car and start driving, then you get to where there is traffic and say, this traffic is just annoying. Then you come out of your car and you start walking. Then you've walked 2 minutes down the line and the traffic starts moving. What should you do? Go back to your car, enter into your car and start moving. And the thing is, if you do that, you will lose more time. And that is what a lot of us do with our finances. We get in on the journey, then we hit a roadblock, then we'll take another option. And then when the roadblock seems to have cleared, then we want to come back to the first option. You see, that moving back and forth slows you down more than others who stayed in their car. and waited through that period. So if you are investing in stock market, that is the same way it is. If you are investing in any kind of assets, so the first understand where you are and what you need to do and stay on track. Staying on track helps you to move faster. But looking at what others are doing, at the speed others are going, and what you think is working for others, and not minding what strategy that you have put in place is, then you start, you see that bouncing up and down, bouncing in and out of strategy slows you down. So you want to understand where you are so that you can come up with the best strategy for you. If you have any questions, I'll take them.
There's a question by Lois. Can you consider investing into your children's education as an asset?
Okay, so investing into your children's education is an asset. Is an asset towards your, is an asset for you, and is an asset for your children. And this is how I see it. So you put this money, permit me to use what I'm familiar with, RESP, Registered Education Savings Plan for your children. And it's time for them to go to university. You don't, if you have saved properly for their education, you don't need to pay a dime out of pocket for them to go to university. Why? Because you have done that. So you have saved yourself the stress of looking for school fees in the future. So it's a form of investment. And because when you put that money, you're not just putting it in a savings account somewhere. You are putting it in an investment account so that that money can grow. So as you are putting in your own monthly contribution into that account, into that investment account, the markets, the fund managers are trading with it. The fund managers are putting it in targeted fund or for any fund solution that is growing, that is bringing in interest. So that interest is also making money on your behalf. So you are able to grow that money faster for them. If you don't create an education savings plan for them, eventually you have to bring that money out of your pocket. If you don't have it, you will borrow. So having that plan in place is very good because it's a form of investment that helps you to take care of a need in the future. So it's more like a project account. The project is your daughter's or your son's education. It's for your children's education. And so, yeah, it's an investment. So you put it under your investment assets.
Okay. Is there any other question from the people? Okay, so if someone looks at their asset to liability and net worth right now and is on minus, as a financial analyst or a finance professional, what do you think the person, someone is saying that what I'm earning is not even enough to build any asset, so what do you recommend if the result is not looking good?
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to create a budget. And people see budget as very limiting. Budget is your muscle, is your financial muscle. That is what gets you to bulldoze through a lot of things. You earn enough for where you are right now. And I would like to use myself as an example. I think it's one of the discussions I've had many times this week already about savings and how you think you don't earn enough to save. At some point in 2021, I was earning an amount that was not even meeting up my needs. So I created a budget and I said, this is the amount I want to save on a monthly basis from this salary. I chose an amount. I didn't choose a percentage. I chose a dollar amount. And I said, on a monthly basis, I want to put this amount of money aside. I would put that money aside and I'll budget what is left. So take, for example, assumed numbers. I earned $2,000. And I said, I want to save $250 from this money every month. How much do I have left to live on? 1,750. That 1,750 is what I budget around. I don't budget around 2,000. I budget around 1,750 because I have assumed that 250 is not available to do anything called spending on self. So that's $250. I put it in my high interest savings account as my monthly savings, and it stays there. It doesn't come out. And if you know how savings accounts work here, you can only make limited for some high interest savings accounts, you can only make limited debits in a month. Okay, so I put that money there and I forget about it, and I budget with my 1,750. And that is how you should do it. You will always be able to do whatever you want to do as long as you put your mind to it. That money does not look like it's enough right now. But if you put that savings as priority, you will save it. Number 2 thing that you need to do is to look for other things that you can do to make money. Who has a program that you feel that you can sell? Sell it and get commission. Who has a book that is selling or just launched a book? You have read the book and the book is wow. Sell that person's book and get your commission. Look for other things that you can do by the side to make more money. Okay, so you are working with a budget. You are looking at increasing your income. Those are the 2 most important steps that you want to take immediately you realize that you are in a negative and you are thinking about coming out of your negative. And the way I see it is, especially if you are in debt and you are still in negative, so you want to look at, how do I take care of the past, which is the debt that you have accumulated? How do I take care of the present, which are things that you need to do currently, paying your bills and feeding yourself and taking care of yourself and all of those, and ensuring that your future is also planned for, which is your savings and investments. So if you look at those 3 things as one big picture, not as 3 separate entities, if you look at it as one big picture, it will be easier for you to create a strategy around how to ensure that the 3 of them get fed on a monthly basis from whatever it is that you make. So you want to create a budget and you want to increase your income. Create a budget not on the assumed income that you want to make. Create a budget on what you earn currently. And in your budget, create room for making more money. So this month, I want to make an extra $250 so that I can do this. Put it as part of your budget. That drives you to go out and look for what to do. If you have a car, why not do Uber or DoorDash or this shopping thing that you go do grocery shopping for people and stuff like that? There are things that you can do. Okay, so you need to find what are the things that you can do. You can look at a friend who has a business. You can be an affiliate marketer. You can do so many other things. You can learn to sell on eBay, Amazon, those places. You can buy and sell from Alibaba, Temu. In fact, Temu does not charge you shipping fee, right? Alibaba does. So if you take shipping fee out of it, you can sell at a lower price than other people who are using Alibaba are doing. Okay, so there are options that are available. Don't think about your perceived status, because when you start thinking about perceived status, it hinders you from taking the steps that you should take. Think about what you need right now. And I was watching the video of a 38-year-old woman this morning who used the FIRE approach to retire early. So she's 38, she's retired. And she was sharing the things that she did. And right now she created a course teaching people how to achieve what she has achieved using the same strategy that she used. Okay, so if there's anything that you have learned or mastered over time, teach people to do it and charge a fee. So there are options available to you to increase your income. So summary of the answer is develop a budget and increase your income.
Okay. Someone is asking, which currency is better in valuing your net worth? 2022, when dollar to naira was 560, net worth was 50,000. Net worth was 28 million. 2023 net worth is dollar 980 is 40,000. Net worth is 39 million. Well, your net worth increase in naira, your net worth in dollar is decreased. What do you recommend? Yeah, so that's one. Then number two, how do you save in a financial environment like Nigeria, where the value of currency is crazily unstable?
Okay, so what is the best currency to save in? I remember that when PF and I started out, we were doing our net worth in US dollars. And dollar was fairly stable at that time. So I would say, what exchange rate should you use? Use the worst possible exchange rate. Don't use because this exchange rate we have right now is the overbloated exchange rates. I believe that things would. Okay, so for example, in Canadian dollar, 3 months ago, we bought Canadian dollar for 960 naira.
All
right. Within 24 hours, that dollar went from 960 to 730. No, within 48 hours, went from 960 to 730. Right now, it's back at 850, 852, thereabout. So the dollar pricing right now is not making sense. So you want to use an average over the last 12 months. What's been the dollar average? And use that as your exchange rate. That puts you in a more comfortable position as against using the extreme low and the extreme high. Do an average of the dollar exchange rate over you can get that from Google. So Google gives you month on month for the last 12 months. So use an average of that to do your calculation. Sorry, what's the second question again?
Second question says that how do you save in an economy like Nigeria? How do you save in a financial environment like Nigeria, where the value of currency is crazily unstable? So yes.
So save in your local currency, except you have responsibilities that require you to spend other currencies. Save in your local currency. If you have extras that you don't want to touch, convert them to the foreign currency and save in that currency. Okay. I remember that Fisaya used to say at some point, he would convert his money to dollar and he would be saving. So if you have that extra cash that you don't want to spend, you can convert it to a dollar. If you have responsibilities in US dollars or Canadian dollar or pound sterling, if you have responsibilities in those, then save in those currencies and just forget that that money exists there. Not that when you need it, you go and convert it back, so that when you need to send school fees to your kids or you need to send upkeep money to your kids, you can easily do that from the foreign currency that you have saved. But if you don't have any commitments to a foreign currency, you can continue to save in your local currency, but saving is not where you want to end it. I always say, save it and invest it. Accumulate it and invest it. But one of the things I also found out working in the financial planning space is that you don't want to wait to accumulate that money before you put it in an investment. If you have 10,000 today, push it toward that investment. If you have 5,000 today, push it toward that investment. If you have 15,000 today, push it towards that investment. That is what is called dollar cost averaging. Something I cannot teach right now in this class, but it helps you to grow your investment faster because if you are putting your money towards, for example, an MTN shares, today you have 5,000, you buy what 5,000 can buy. Tomorrow you have 15,000, you buy what 15,000 can buy. tomorrow and the day after that you have 10,000, you buy what 10,000 can buy. If you average the costs and on each day is different amount. So let's say for today it was 12 naira. Tomorrow, 12 naira 50 kobo. The day after that you bought it for 13. By the time you take an average of how much you have spent to buy those shares that you bought, it's an average of $12.50. It doesn't look like it's so expensive, because if you sell it 10 days later at $14, it's 14 minus 12.50. That is how much profits you make, capital gains that you make on that shares. So putting your money towards, don't just keep it in your savings account until you have bulk money. If you have 3,000 today, buy what 3,000 can buy. If you have 2,000 tomorrow, buy what 2,000 can buy, and keep buying off like that. At the end of the day, it's better for you. If you look at how the market is right now for in the stock market, you realize that prices of shares are at some of the lowest levels that they can be, even though the market is beginning to pick up again. They are not back at that peak level. So this is a good time to buy before they become so expensive and you say, I can't get in at this point. So when you have 2,000, put it in. When you have 3,000, put it in. The day is high, you will buy. The day is low, you will buy. It will average out. Okay, so when you think about your investment in that light, stay invested in the market. That's one of the things I always tell people. Stay invested in the market. If you are not invested in the market, you will lose out. If you cash out when it is high, when it is low, you will buy when it is high, you will lose money. So, but if you stay invested in the market, when the market recovers, you gain your loss back. Okay. I hope that answers the question. Any other one?
Yes, someone is asking, I collected money from people and I helped them invest. Unfortunately, things went bad. All of them are on my neck. I'm indebted to the tune of 65 million naira. Do I go into my escrow and break my escrow to offset the bills, or do I negotiate and pay them in bits, even though the case has gone to court and the person we all invested in has been arrested? What do you advise?
Okay, so it's a case of what was the promise from the beginning? Did you tell them you were investing on their behalf? What agreement did you sign? If you signed an agreement that they have a guaranteed return, you have to give them the guaranteed return. If you say, it depends on the agreement you have with them, but the most important thing you want to do is let them know what the situation is. And depending on the, I'll always go back to, I know the gospel has stressed this over and over again. Always have an agreement. Whatever investments that you're doing, always have an agreement. Let a lawyer look at the agreement for you. I've learned a lot recently by watching, bear with me, Hallmark movies. So I watched a movie recently, and a family sold their land to a developer. The agreement they had with the developer was that they were going to use the land for a particular purpose, which resonated with the family, and they sold the land on that. Meanwhile, the company turned around and said they were going to do something else. And when they went to meet the lawyer to say they were suing it out of the property, the lawyer said, "It's what you agreed to." And they said, "No, that was not what we agreed to. This was what we agreed to." They said they had a gentleman's agreement to do this. But when the lawyer brought the agreement to them, they didn't have their own lawyer look at the agreement. They just signed off based on the agreement that the lawyer of the buyer brought. And a lot of clauses have been put into that agreement that they were not aware of. So when they went to court, the court said the agreement that they signed off on was going to stand. So what is the agreement you had with these people? Well, if you don't have an agreement and you are liable to pay them back, You have to develop a repayment strategy. Not by, if you want to pay with your money, that would be a very noble thing to do. But there are always other ways to look at things. So I have invested money on your behalf, which was what I agreed to do for you. In this case, this has gone south. I would like to pay back, but I need a payment plan. We need to agree on how that will be done. I don't have 65 million to drop, but I can start doing this on a monthly basis. So have an agreement with all of them, sit them down and let them understand that you want to sort this. You don't want them to feel like they are being swindled out of their money. A gentleman's agreement in some part of the world is contract enough. However, if you have collected money from somebody or from people and on a personal basis, not by your company or anything, then you might want to sit them down and develop a plan, a strategy to pay them back. Because again, it's about integrity and trust. They've entrusted you with this. You have done that, hoping that it was going to go right. But it was not something you had direct control over. The people who had direct control over it messed up. So you have to come and sit down and have that conversation and look at how to pay that debt back. What are the sources that are going to pay that debt? So you know you have your own personal savings that had nothing to do with that investment. If it's your company, you don't want to use your personal savings. You want to have that company look for ways to make up that money and pay back. If the court case becomes one and the people who collected money from you pay you back, all good and well. If they don't, you want to look for how to pay back. And I've seen people who forgive debt because they know that you have made an effort, you have put in a lot of work to ensure that they get their money back. So you want to start paying that back by developing a strategy. But for you to develop a strategy, you need to first list out all the people that are involved. You want to have that meeting with them one-on-one. I would not suggest a group meeting. Group meetings are always end up being charged. Charged by being out, sort of. So you want to meet with them one-on-one and reach a new agreement on how to pay back and what to pay back and when to pay back. With each one of them, then commit yourself to those agreements that you have reached with them. If you want to do it better this time, you probably would have a proper agreement drawn out on how this repayment is going to be done. But it's important that you have that conversation with each one of them individually.
Two more questions. If you have a savings and also have a credit card with a balance and a high interest, is it best to pay the high interest credit card from the savings? That's number one. Then number two, I have an investment that someone is offering me that pays 40% every month. What is your advice? I already have people who claim to have been making money from the investment.
I'll start with number two. And I'll say it, I've always said it, and I'll say it again. If it is too good to be true, it probably is. So you want to ask, what is the product that this investment is into? What product or service are they rendering? Excuse me. What product or service are they rendering? Do they have goods that they are selling? Do they have products that they are selling? They don't have services that they are rendering. Who are they rendering it to? What is the asset what is the underlying asset of what they are investing in? Because you want to know all of that. What investment would give you a return? Because before they give you 40% return on a monthly basis, they are making double that. What investments or what activities, business activity or investment activity, are they involved in that gives them that kind of return on a monthly basis that they can now pay you that high amount? So in a year, they are paying you 480% return on investment on your money. You want to know what that investment in. I've done Ponzi scheme in time past. I lost money. And this was 2018. It was called Wintrill. Oh my goodness, they were giving us crazy returns, 40% in 6 months. By the time my high will clear, my 7 million was sitting right inside our account.
I want you.
You told me, and I lost that 7 million in 2018. That was just a couple of months before PF's 40th birthday. I remember. You know? And so you want to ask yourself, what, if it is too good to be true, it probably is. You want to find out, what are they investing in? What is it that they are doing that is giving them that kind of return? You don't want to put your money where, when I got into Wintrill, I had people were telling me they've been doing it for years. And it's true, they've been doing it for years. But we did it for a couple of months and lost our own money. Some people have built houses on that investment. My friend did build a house based on that. But a couple of months down the line, when we got in, we lost our money. Right? So you want to, because somebody is saying they have been doing it for years, does not mean it's right. It might be right for them, it might not be right for you. At what point are you coming into that scheme? Because I see it as a scheme. So you want to really ask the right questions before you commit your funds to it. Remember that that money is your blood. You worked for it. Your sweat did the work. Your blood did the work. There were days that you were sick and you still showed up to work to make that money. So before you let it out, do your due diligence very well. You don't want to put your sweat in the hands of a scammer or a fraudster. So do your analysis very well before you go into it. First question, sorry, I forgot that.
First question, let me look for it again. If you have savings and also a
credit card
with a balance and a high interest, is it best to pay the high interest credit card from the savings?
For people who are in the credit card economy, don't worry, my second course is coming out soon. Understanding your credits. And understanding and optimizing your credits. So I would say pay down your credit card. Credit card adds up very easily, very, very easily. And the more it adds up, the more it impacts on your credit score. So if you still need your credit score in the future to do transactions, you don't want to spoil it now. So I would say pay down your credit card and do that on a monthly basis. So if your credit is due on the 14th of the month, for example, if your payment on your credit card is due on the 14th of the month, for example, you want to ensure that you pay it down before that day so that it reflects on that day that it is zero. You always want to kneel it out every payment cycle. That way you are able to build your credit score faster and you create credibility. The 5 C's of credit is what you need to always consider when you are looking at your credit card or any form of credit. That you might, car loan, student loan, anything loan, anything credit. You always want to look at capacity. If you don't have the capacity to pay back this money that you want to spend on your credit card, and I tell people, if you have the money in your debit card, spend it on your credit card. Then move it from your debit into your credit, especially if you have those credit cards that give you cash back or points. I prefer the points one, because for example, I have a credit card that for every $1 I spend, I get 1 point. So if I spend $10,000 in a year on that credit card, I get 10,000 points. And those points I can convert to cash. I remember I had a client who had crazy points on our card, and she went on an all expense paid trip from that points card. All the expenses for our vacation was paid from the points that she has accumulated over the years. So she's not spending anything out of her pocket. She's spending from the loyalty or spending at credit card, you know. So if you do it right, you can reap benefits from your credit card. So the answer to that question is pay down your credit card. Pay it down. And going forward, use your credit card more responsibly. Don't carry balance month on month on your credit card, especially if you are building credit and you still need that credit score to do a lot of things in the future. Then you need to build it responsibly. Okay? So pay it down. That's it. Pay it down.
We have one more question. Most investments, especially crowdfunding, they only give you white paper. So what do we do in that case?
What is white paper?
That's what I'm trying to understand myself. Please, the person that asked the question, Meg, are you there? Can you unmute yourself? What is white paper, please? Is it a receipt or something? Okay, I'm not sure she's... but I think what you should do, have a proper agreement. I think that's okay. Proof of concept. Oh, okay. Oga Goes will say it's proof of concept.
Okay, I'm back now. I was trying to unmute. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. That's all they give you. Well, if it's what Oga Goes calls it, then it's good enough. Because proof of concept means that it's like what they used to do in time past.
Can we hear from her? Meg, are you there? What is...
Yes, sir, I'm here. Thank you for the presentation. The white paper, they will ask you to go to the website, and most of the time it deals with this crypto investments that we do. Sometimes it's the forest, sometimes it's the crystal, and you print it out from there. They'll tell you like the roadmap, what they're going to do, and how they plan to go, their plan of the investment, what they are doing.
Okay.
But that's where it ends.
Okay.
There's no sometimes there's no real concrete that, if the investment did not go well, you are getting your return back.
Okay, I will let Uncle Goswill answer that question. Uncle Will. Uncle Will, are you in?
Goswill, are you there?
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute myself.
Okay.
The host is not allowing me.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Okay. I'm not interfering with your class because I'm excited about what you're doing here, TPF. And I said in my comment that you need to do this again. It's mind blowing. I think you need to come back and redo so that people can understand it. The white paper is just like she explained. It's just telling you what we are doing and how we're doing it. But the problem with that white paper comes with denial of liability of any sort. It comes with a lot of disclaimers around the proof of concept. And any investment you're doing that already comes with disclaimer, like we have said in this class, is a no-no. Because the reason why you must ask people to come and do investment is because you guys are professionals and you know what you're doing. But every white paper I've seen, especially in the cryptocurrency or what you call the app that drives the blockchain technology, always comes with a lot of liability denial because nobody is really sure. No matter what they have told you, nobody is really sure. That's the thing. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much, TPF. Okay, so sorry, I've posted the link. People are asking for, some people have been private chatting me asking for the link to your course. I put it in there. I think it's 30 days financial fitness. I put 40 days. It's 30 days financial fitness club. There's what you do every day to be financially fit. So please click on the link. We appreciate you, TPF. Maybe your final word, TPF, before we allow you go. In our journey to building financial fitness. What's your final word?
Thank you very much for the time today. So I'll say that it's always good to look at where you are on the journey to where you really want to be. So I like to use myself as an example. So my final word is like talking to myself, and it's to say, have an intimate relationship with your money at all times. Understand, it's like your relationship with your spouse. If you don't know what your spouse likes or needs, you won't give them the best of yourself. If you don't know what your money needs from you, if you don't know what you need from your money, if your money does not understand what you need, you will not get the best of it. So the best way to build that relationship with your money is to pay attention to it. Pay attention to it. I'm not saying go crazy looking at your account balances every minute. I'm saying create a strategy and a system around your money that helps you to know where you are at every point in time. I remember that when I first started this out, the first Excel sheet that I used for managing my money was built by Fowowe. Because then I didn't have so much understanding. It was after Fowowe built that Excel sheet for me that I became interested in Excel. I started to learn about Excel myself. And if I find something that I like, I put my energy into it. And that is how I have over time built my expertise in my financial space. So I'm not saying become an expert. I'm saying understand your money enough to know what you are doing with it and how you are growing it. Read books, attend classes, buy courses, get a coach, get a mentor, talk to people who have knowledge. Surround yourself with people who want to build their wealth as well, not spenders. I've seen a lot of them around in this environment, people who just want to put the money together and spend it all. So you don't want to be in that space. Surround yourself with the right knowledge, with the right people, and you will move faster. Thank you.
Thank you very much, TPF.